Hey, welcome to Have Your Best Week Ever. That's right. Welcome to Have Your Best Week Ever. That's one of the key things that I always like to say, but try to like to live it too, is to keep having your best week ever. And that's one of the things I want to hold the group to accountable to and work through to have your best week ever. As you joining on, don't forget to go over to Facebook and join us live inside of the group. We post things throughout the week and occasionally just things that happen with us, and you can share those things with you uh, to your friends and invite them over to have your best week ever. And then also, you can always jump back here to haveyourbestweekever.com and listen to the rebroadcast. So if you miss anything and want to get anything that we said and just wasn't quite sure, my enunciation wasn't proper, or just didn't quite understand. Either way it goes, I want you to do that and just simply go over to YouTube, or that's after the week is over. You can see the replays, the previous versions, and looking at my clock here or the watch on my arm, it's almost time to get started. We always like to start on time because one of the key things about it is that I'm respectful of your time and challenge you to be respectful of your time, because the key thing about being respectful of your time is that we all have this same 100 and not 100 168 hours in a week, but 148 hours in the day. And I think I'm sorry, 140 minutes in the day, excuse me. uh, I wish we did. If we had 148 hours in the day, that would be a long day because we only have 24 hours in the day. But you think about it, we have the same amount of time, the same amount of minutes, the same amount of seconds in a day as everyone else. And it's what we do within that time that's very, very, very important. Hey, I want to welcome you on as you guys come online with us here for the live broadcast. And we'll also do a replay just because sometimes you sign up for things and you can't make it. So make sure that you aware of where they hit us at on the replay. You can always go over to have your best week ever. Then also we share this information on our website. You can go over to businessgrowthdynamicsconsulting.com and check out our weekly blog. And on top of that, some other goodies that we have there for you. So I want you to definitely consider doing those things too, and share what we do. And we do this because our goal is to help others continually have their best week ever. So that's why we're here. And hopefully that you will just find one or two things that we go over today. And as you're coming on, you can also go over now and download a copy of what I'm going to go through. We're going to be talking about the daily agenda. You can simply go over to thegrowthplanner.com. That's right, thegrowthplanner.com. And when you go over to thegrowthplanner.com, just simply download a version of the Growth Planner, because today we're really going to go and walk through creating those daily habits and creating your daily agenda, because that really becomes your daily habits. As you work to create your daily agenda, you're going to find that your daily agenda is what serves you best. And I challenge you to do that. And then also, when you download it, feel free to share the link to others. If it benefits you, would love to hear about it. What can we do to help you more inside the Growth Planner? It's a system that really started for me about 3 years ago. People say, Howard, you spent a lot of time on this. Yes, I did. But it was really to help me grow myself and my business, and just to have my best weeks ever. And that's how this whole theme came about, working through that Growth Planner. So it's a tool that we've made available for you, those of you that show us appreciation by showing up and showing that you like our time. Let's see, sure. Okay. Little wardrobe there. I got a note saying, hey, Howard, shirt's a little big on you, but hopefully it'll be a lot bigger on me by the end of this year, as we're going through some goals and changes that we're making. But I want to go ahead and get started. A lot of times I ask people to show up early on time because I don't like to spend a lot of time chit-chatting on the Hangout, simply because it's not designed for that. This is designed to help you get the most out of your days, get the most out of your minutes, and the most out of your moments. So I want to challenge you to just begin to think about that from your standpoint. What can you do this week differently is going to help you be more effective and reach the goals that you have. And really, the time that you control is today. Tomorrow is not promised. Yesterday is gone. Today is the present. That's why it's called the present. So you have to live in the moment, but you really have to control your daily agenda. And I truly believe you have to control your daily agenda. By controlling your daily agenda, then great things will happen for you. By controlling your daily agenda, you will get the most out of what happens. So we're going to go through a presentation. Some days, some evenings on this Hangout, I actually do more talking than teaching. But tonight, I'm really going to just walk through part of the system. And it's going to be the daily portion of the Hangout. So I'm going to jump over here and pull up the slides and see where they are. There we go. And let's get this show on the road, as they say. All right. As we talk about your daily agenda, that's the key thing that drives your success throughout the year. I truly believe that your daily agenda determines your destiny daily. And that's up to you. You decide your daily agenda. So I want you to post of what you're going to do differently to work on your daily agenda. So, just think about that. What you do daily will determine your weekly, monthly, and your yearly outcomes. So what I do today determines what happens down the road. Really, our month is determined by an accumulation of our days. And our quarters are determined by an accumulation of our months. But going back again, inside of those months or those days, those weeks. So I want you to really begin to break it down and say, what am I going to do daily? And that's going to be very key as you work through it. Most of what I'm going to talk about today and share with you today is going to be inside of our growth planner. It's all going to be inside of our growth planner. And I'm going to go through one part of the system, which is the daily pages of the growth planner and why it's laid out the way it is and how it can benefit you if you would choose to implement such a system. Utilize a system. One of the guy that I follow a lot, David Fryer actually says that, let me make sure I get the quote right. I didn't write it down, so let me make sure I get it correctly. He says, systems are for winners, willpower is for fools. A lot of times you want to say you're going to do things by willpower. No. That will not work. You got to have a system to make it happen. And that's what we try to do with the growth planner, a system in which you work through weekly, but then you carry out daily. So let's go to the daily page right inside of it. There are two places you can go and download a copy of the growth planner. You can go to thegrowthplanner.com, as you see on the bottom of your screen there, thegrowthplanner.com. And when you go to thegrowthplanner.com, you will be able just to download a version of it and just print it out. It's a PDF for your usage. And please feel free to share that link with others. Or you can go over to our Facebook group, Have Your Best Week Ever, and also grab a copy of it inside of that group. Just look under the tab that says Files, and when you hit there, boom, it'll be right there for you to download. So let's get started. I want to be respectful of your time as always, and our goal is to keep this here under a 30-minute time frame, just a small investment outside of that 1440. So just a small subtraction of that 1440. It leaves you a whole nother 1,410 minutes to work through at the course of the day. The daily system is set up to where you really frame your day. I think one of the things that we don't do enough of in planning our day is what's called time blocking. And when you look at the daily system, I think we should all begin our mornings with some type of ritual or routine. It should really become a ritual. So it starts out as a routine and you consistently do it. It's a ritual. And we actually will do a teaching on that daily rituals. But more importantly, inside the planner, right, here's a place to capture that. One of the things that I do when I'm working my best, I get up and do some meditations. I do some affirmations. Then I have a couple people I listen to. One, I try to catch Steve Harvey at 5 a.m. Central Time. And he goes through some things, and that's one person. And then I back in that with different people I'm listening to and growing from. At the time of this recording, I'm, studying Miles Monroe, the late Miles Monroe. And just so when I catch key thoughts and phrases, I capture them here. This is one of the places I capture them because then at the end of the week, when I get off this call, actually, I will go and actually plan my week. And so I'm able to look back over the week and say, hey, here's what resonated with me. Here are those thoughts. Here are those quotes that really, just felt good. I mean, just spoke to my soul and made me think. So I want to challenge you to use that part of it. And then here, as you're planning your day, and the best time to plan your day is the day before. I want you to write down on the top outcomes for the day, those top rocks. What are those 5 things that you're going to get done today? What are the 5 things? I mean, just imagine if you're able to get 5 things move forward in your business, in your life, in your job, whatever it is that you're doing at the present time. What type of growth would that mean for you? What type of growth would that mean for your team if you're able to accomplish that? Now, the key thing about that is that you don't necessarily have to do all of those 5 outcomes, but those 5 outcomes that at the end of the day you want to have happen. Because one of the key things to be more productive, you have to learn how to delegate. Call it the D's. You have to learn how to delegate. That's one of them. You have to design your day. That's part of what we're talking about in developing these habits. And then what you don't do. So, but here you're going to capture those 4 D's, and inside the growth planner is lined out. So those top rocks, those top outcomes are right there in front of you. And then inside the other part is focus on those big projects. One of the things that we teach is that every quarter you should have roughly 3 things, no more than 3, 4 maybe, that you're focused on in the quarter. Every quarter, what am I going to get done this quarter? I have a product launch coming out this quarter that I'm focused on. So every day I have to do something related to that product launch. I have some health goals that I'm working on. So every day that's going to go there. That's going to be something focused on those quarterly projects or strategic priorities. So I want you to capture that there. And then the next section is first and tens. A lot of my followers are people that are business owners, they're coaches and trainers that are looking to grow their business. I want you to have phone calls and conversations that will help you grow your business. Phone calls and conversations is going to help you move your relationships forward. And the only way to do that is to plan it. I mean, literally write out those 10 calls. Last Thursday of the week, I had a busy week. I think I had 4 appointments scheduled, 3 materialized. These are face-to-face appointments, but they came about because the previous week, on one of my first and 10 days, I actually booked all of those appointments. So I would challenge you to write them down the night before, write their names and write their numbers. So you will actually block off time. You will come over and block off time in your schedule for your first and 10 calls. And when you do that, you're going to find some great things happening. And one of the things that I always find happening with me is when I go over and do my first and 10s is that typically I'm going to talk to 2 or 3 of the people immediately out of those 10. And then outside of that, you will have conversations with some of the others. When I say some of the others, they will call you back. They will give you a call back, and you may play tag, but you have started the ball rolling. You have started the ball rolling. And that's what you should do on these first and 10s. That is the purpose of it. Moving relationships forward, growing relationships that will grow your business. And then here are the small things that you need to complete. There's a lot of little things that we have going on that are not considered the big rocks, but I want you to capture those here. And then next, on that daily sheet, didn't spend much time on the small things because that's what they are. They're not necessarily critical, and you want to tackle them or assign them to someone else before they become critical. But then here's a place to capture those unexpected calls, events, conversations, etc. They're going to happen. And you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with those conversations happening and be prepared to capture them, because sometimes some great things happen that we did not plan. And when that happens, when we look back over our day, we say we didn't get things done. But if we can really look at it and say, oh, here's what happened. Here's what ate up my time. When you look back over the week, here's what ate up my time. It really reassures that what you're doing is the proper thing. So I want to challenge you to utilize the growth planner for that purpose. That is one of the key purposes for that section, the unscheduled activities. And then over on the left-hand side, a lot of us use digital calendars. I know I use Google Calendar, no plug for it, but it's a great tool, integrates with a lot of other software. But inside of that, when you schedule your activities, you could also schedule it here, or you could use this as a time journal. So just imagine every 2 hours, you capture what you did within those hours on paper. But I challenge you to at least schedule every day, at least one day before. I mean, that is the key thing. Schedule every day, at least one day before. And then the last part is to recap your thoughts and reflect your day. You know, when you do those 2 R's, recap and reflect, you really magnify the things that you did. So you really look at the great things that happened. You look back at some of the missteps, not mistakes, that may have happened during the day. And then also you look back and say, what happened to the things that did not get accomplished? And you can forward those over if need be. Sometimes you miss an opportunity. And so, hey, that's what happened. You missed that opportunity. But it's very important that you recap your thoughts and reflect your day. So all this is just tools inside of the Growth Planner. And as I summarize it real quickly, starting with place your daily thoughts, a place for your daily thoughts and your affirmations. So starting your day, I think Darren Hardy says it best. There are two things that we can typically control in our day. And I challenge you to do that. And that's what you do when you first wake up, and then what you do before you go to bed. So try to control those two areas of your business, of your day, and then plan the others effectively. You have to have a plan. I mean, put a plan in place. So as you're saying, you focus on the top rocks, the outcomes for the day. Always try to touch and do at least one thing with that big project you have this quarter, whatever it is. You want to try to do one or two things with that big project that you have. And then first intent, schedule that time. Determine when you're going to make those calls. Close your office door, put do not disturb on, and make the calls. Strive for at least 10 a day. And I guarantee, if you're in sales, if you make 10 calls this week every day, you're going to see a lot of appointments next week. And depending on your product or service, the life cycle of it, the sales cycle of it will determine. You may even actually close some sales this week. And then step back in and ask yourself, what small things do I need to fill in between those big rocks? And this is just a visual piece. If you imagine a bucket and you had some big rocks, it takes fewer big rocks than the small pebbles to fill in the big bucket, volume-wise. And that's the way our day should be, looking at those big rocks. And then fill in the little gaps with the pebbles and the sand, if you would, to fill your bucket. And your day is your bucket. Then the unscheduled activities. Once again, capturing those unscheduled things. Sometimes things happen, they happen. You're going to get phone calls. You have multiple roles and you cannot plan it out completely. Be okay with that. Be comfortable with that. But capture it here. And I'm telling you, it will make a difference as you look back over your day, as you look back over your week, as you look back over your month, to see and reflect, wow, here's some changes I could make. Here's some things I could do better. Here's how I can gain more control of my day. Then, as we said, schedule your day every day, at least one day ahead. And then lastly, but not leastly, you want to recap and reflect your day before you go to bed. So these are just a few tips to help you have your best week ever. Oftentimes when I go through this, I don't let people know how to connect with me. And here are a couple ways that you can always stay and connect with us. This call, we try to do it every Sunday night, sometimes on Monday evenings. But haveyourbestweekever.com. Just simply go over to haveyourbestweekever.com and you shall have the latest sign-in information, and you will be put on the mailing list and be reminded of the calls and upcoming events around that. And then secondly, 15K in 45 minutes. We call these growth calls because once or twice a month, we actually interview a business owner and help them with ideas to grow their business. The time of this call last week, we had a conversation with a coach, and most of the time, like this last call, the person that got on the hot seat hot seat actually on the call. So I did not talk to them prior to that time, and knew very little about their business. I had met her before, but knew very little about her business. So we were able to give her some things to help her niche down her business and really focus on some revenue generating ideas. And then every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m., sorry I didn't put the time on there, the weekly radio show. That's at 7 a.m. Central. Just go over to WTQT.org and you can join us there live. And also you can call in or request to be a guest, or you can catch us on the TuneIn app at the same place. So I want to challenge you to make sure you go over and be part of that and really share with us and just walk down this road with us. I mean, when I say walk down the road with us, part of what we try to do on a weekly basis and a daily basis, and we do this with our clients personally, but we also like to share out to the overall communities, is to help you have your best week ever. So in closing, I always like to challenge you to have your best week ever by being the best you possible. Hey, take care, God bless, and we shall see you down the road, and look forward to sharing even more with you later this week in the other outlets. Take care, God bless.